Right now, reach into your pocket and take out a bill. Look at it. A piece of paper. You'd trade hours of your life for it. But that paper is worth exactly nothing. Its value isn't in the paper. It's in a belief inside your head. And someone, somewhere, gets to decide how strong that belief is. For most of history, money was something you could actually hold. Gold, silver, real metal, dug out of the ground with real effort. Nobody could print more gold. That was the whole point. Its value came from the fact that it was hard to get. The paper in your pocket has no such limit. And that changes everything. To understand how we got here, go back to Rome. The Roman denarius was a coin of nearly pure silver. It paid the soldiers. It ran the largest empire on earth. But emperors had a problem. Wars cost more than they collected in taxes. So they did something quiet, something almost invisible. They melted the coins down and mixed in cheaper metal. Same coin, same face, less silver inside. Under Nero, the silver started shrinking. Then it never stopped. Within 150 years, the denarius was almost no silver at all. Prices exploded. The empire's own money became a joke. This is the oldest trick in power, and it has a modern name. But here's the thing. Rome had to physically shave the metal. Today, no metal is needed. The whole system runs on a promise, and to see when that promise was broken, we go to 1971. Until that year, the US dollar was tied to gold. By law. Foreign countries could trade their dollars for real metal. It was a leash. It stopped governments from printing too much. But by 1971, America had printed far more dollars than it had gold. Other countries noticed. They started lining up to collect the gold. So, on August 15, 1971, President Nixon went on television, and with a few sentences, he cut the leash. He called it temporary. It was never reversed. From that night on, the dollar was backed by nothing but trust, and every currency on earth quietly followed. This is the moment your money became an idea you can't see. But this was only the surface. The real machine was older. To find it, we go back to a private island in 1910. Off the coast of Georgia sat a resort for the ultra-rich, Jekyll Island. One winter night, a private train car left New Jersey in secret. Inside were some of the most powerful bankers in the world. They were told to use only first names, to tell no one. They even pretended to be a duck hunting party. A senator named Nelson Aldrich had gathered them. For 10 days, behind locked doors, they wrote a plan. A plan for who would control America's money. 3 years later, that plan became the Federal Reserve, a central bank with the power to create dollars out of thin air. Not earned, not mined, typed into existence. And for decades, almost no one questioned it. Because here's the trick. When new money is printed, prices don't rise instantly. It takes time to spread. And that delay is where the theft happens. An 18th-century economist named Richard Cantillon noticed it first. He saw that new money doesn't reach everyone at the same time. Whoever gets it first spends it while prices are still low. Banks, governments, the wealthy, they stand closest to the printer. By the time the money reaches you, the prices have already risen. You get the same paper, but it buys less than it did. Economists have a polite name for this. They call it the Cantillon Effect. But there's a blunter word for it. A tax you never voted for. Milton Friedman said it plainly. Inflation is taxation without legislation. No bill is passed, no vote is held, and yet you pay it every single year. How much? Look at what a dollar has done since the Federal Reserve was born. A 1913 dollar buys you about 3 cents of goods today. That's not a typo. It lost over 96% of its power. Slowly, quietly, a little each year, so you'd never feel the cut. 2% a year. That's the official target, set on purpose. They don't want zero. They want your money to slowly leak. And this is why something feels wrong about your life. Let me show you. You work harder than your parents did. You earn bigger numbers. And yet a house, a family, a stable life feel further away than ever. In 1971, one worker's salary could buy a home and raise a family. Today, 2 incomes often can't reach the same life. That's the same year, 1971. The year the leash was cut keeps showing up in the charts. Wages flatten. Prices climb. The gap becomes a canyon. You were told you were just bad with money, that you didn't save enough, didn't work hard enough, but you were running on a treadmill someone else controlled the speed of. And to see who that someone is, follow the money's first stop. When a country prints, the first hands are never yours. They're banks, who lend it back to you with interest. You borrow your own diluted money and pay extra to use it. This isn't a conspiracy whispered in the dark. It's printed in plain sight. It's taught in universities as simply how the system works, which is exactly why it's so hard to be angry at it. There's no villain twirling a mustache, just a machine that always runs. But machines like this have failed before, spectacularly. Germany, 1923, a country that printed without limit. A loaf of bread that cost a few marks soon cost 200 billion. People carried cash in wheelbarrows, and it still wasn't enough. Children built towers out of banknotes. They were cheaper than toys. Some people burned money for heat. It was worth more as fuel. That's the end of the road when trust finally breaks. And every paper currency in history has eventually reached zero. Every single one. The only question was ever when. The dollar in your pocket is just the latest in a very long line. So, what do you actually do with all of this? First, you stop blaming yourself for a game you were dropped into. The rules were written before you sat down at the table. Second, you understand why saving paper alone slowly loses. Money that's designed to leak rewards those who move it, not store it. And third, you finally see the bill in your hand for what it is, not value. A claim on value, a promise that can be quietly rewritten. Every hour you trade for it, you're trusting that the promise holds. Most people will never ask who's standing on the other side of that trust. But you just did. And now you can't unsee it. You weren't losing to yourself. You were just never told there was someone on the other end of the line. Tonight, you'll spend money without thinking. Almost everyone does. But now, for just a second, you'll feel the paper differently. Because you finally know what you're really holding.